Welcome back to another episode of the We Get to Do This podcast, everyone. In this episode, we got to speak with Dr. Maggie Koethe, who's a chiro extraordinaire and owner of Nordic Rehab and Chiropractic.
Yeah, Maggie's a pretty wicked movement specialist. She checked off 2 boxes for us today, actually, as the first chiro on our podcast ever and the first certified personal trainer on our podcast ever that could talk all things movement. She's also a huge runner. So we got nerdy, we got deep on a bunch of different things. You're going to love this episode. If you liked the episode at the end or during it, please
follow us, give us a 5-star rating, and you can always drop comments too. We love reading those. And make sure you stay listen until the end, because she might have topped our best We Get to Do This moment that we've ever had on the podcast. And that's saying a lot in my opinion. So I got chills.
Same.
And I hope you do too, and really enjoy this one. We had a lot of fun. So thanks for listening and enjoy this episode.
Peace.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the We Get to Do This podcast. My name's Kaylee.
I am Jacob.
For those of you who are just joining us, and we're here with Maggie Koethe today.
Woo!
Thanks for joining us, Maggie.
I'm so excited to be here. Yeah, I'm so jazzed. I'm so excited.
It's our first time having, I believe, a chiro on, right?
Yep.
All right. That would have been awkward if I said that.
Okay.
And that wasn't true.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be here first.
Yeah. I love when we have like multiple movement specialists on and we get to talk, just get to vibe and nerd out about movement.
Yeah. Running, movement, and entrepreneur. You're like our ideal guest. So
I love it. I hope I can live up to the expectations. No.
You better, or
yeah. Yeah.
Just
then we'll have talks. No.
You've already surpassed my expectations in life, so we're already good there.
Perfect.
So yeah, Maggie is a chiropractor extraordinaire, a runner, and we're gonna be talking about all of that today. But to begin with, I'd love to ask you, who are you, Maggie? What do you do, and why do you do it?
Okay, so I feel like that's such a loaded question, but I am a chiropractor. I own my own practice in Edina. I started out more in the Excelsior, and I recently took over a new practice in the past 3 months, so it is still very new. In my spare time, I also coach hockey, so that's a big part of who I am, what I do, and then I run. So a little bit of everything. The way I practice and treat is a little bit more non-traditional in terms of chiropractors. It's a lot more movement-based care. My goal is to get people moving and feeling better so that they can get back to their activities, live their daily lives as comfortably as possible. So it's not as much of the traditional adjusting as you would see in your classic chiropractic office. So a lot more soft tissue-based care, a little bit of adjusting because I am still a chiropractor, but that's just one of the many tools in my toolboxes that I utilize.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, man, at least 5 times a week I come home and go, Kaylee, you see Maggie's Instagram today?
No.
She is constantly doing things and grinding and hustling. And it's like, oh, now she bought a business.
Yeah.
Let's just add something else to what I already have going on.
Mm-hmm.
I like to stay really busy. It's fun. I like
Have you always been like that?
I think so. I'm a firstborn eldest daughter, so I feel like that really just like pushed me into who I am today. And I feel like it's such a stereotype, but I really own it, and I've really just made it my personality. I'm very type A. I like having a to-do list, and I like checking things off the to-do list. Like sometimes I'll just put brush my teeth on my to-do list so I can cross something off. And I've been doing that. Like I was going through a bunch of my old things and I found something from 5th grade and it was like, wake up, brush teeth, shower. And it's
okay, from 5th grade?
You're 10. Like, we don't need a to-do list for your morning routine. You're going to do it anyways, and you're going to go to school.
I don't think I knew what a to-do list was when I was 10.
No. It's just, I've always liked structure. I've always liked staying busy, and I've found a lifestyle, a career where I can do that. But I also am able to find the balance that I need to when I need to. And I don't know. I've I feel like I'm learning how to find more restful time, and that's not always natural for me, but we're working on it. And I thankfully have a career where I can find balance within it as well. I don't have to always hustle all the time, even though that's my preference.
Hmm.
How do you like when you how can you tell when you are hustling too much, I guess? Does that make
I
sense?
can,
Or,
so yeah, I can notice it in my runs, in my workouts, in my capabilities to be like a good partner to my husband. I notice like if I'm coming home absolutely gassed where I don't even want to have a conversation with him at the end of the day, I'm doing too much. If I'm trying to go for a 3 mile run and I'm gassed and can't get through that at an easy pace for me, I'm doing too much. And that's where I need to take a step back. And it's not worth pushing through those moments where maybe in grad school or like at the start of my business, I'd be like, no, this is just the grind. Like, I need to be pushing through these moments and I need to just like accept that this is what it is. But it's not. I don't need to be a cranky person. I don't need to be feeling exhausted and lethargic through my workouts because that's not going to get me to the goals that I have for myself.
isn't that interesting? Like, I feel as though we spend so many years. I don't have a doctorate, so I'm not. You two obviously did a very different grind than I even have, right? And the level that you two are able to go to is freaking ridiculous. But we spent so many years just like grinding, 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 and then you hit a point where you're like, do I need to do this as hard anymore? Right. But it's like
Yeah.
hard to turn that switch on or off because it's been on for so long. Right.
Well, and
And
it's even like, not to cut you off, is it worth it for
right.
me and my business to be grinding this hard? Is it
Right.
benefiting me? Is it benefiting anyone else in my life? Is it benefiting me, my goals that I'm trying to reach, that this is supposed to be helping me towards?
Hmm. Yeah, that's been a huge, I feel like for both of us, it's been a big existential like crisis that we've been going through the past like 2 years really is like, do we need to like what at this point, what is the purpose of going too hard, I
A
guess?
million miles a
Like
minute.
as opposed to actually like smelling the flowers for a second, for sure.
Yeah.
But again, it's like it's hard when you have done it for so long and find almost joy in that too, from burning the candle at both ends, you know?
Yeah.
So,
And I
so if we,
I had a friend early on in my practice where I was like getting frustrated because I'm like, well, I'm not busy. I really want to be busy. I want to have a full schedule. Like, that's why I'm doing this. And she was like, in 5 years, we might be wishing we had a day where we had no patients on the schedule again because we are going to be so busy that we won't have that free time or flexibility that we have now when we're trying to still build our practices. So I try and keep that kind of in the back of my head. Like, it is such a privilege to do what I do. It's a privilege to have time right now to focus on my social media, to focus on other things. And I might not have that if my business continues to grow in the way that I would like it to.
100%. I feel like you at the beginning too were very much like, we need to enjoy this. You need to enjoy having like a couple hour break where you could like run home and like have lunch or go for a walk. Cause even that's already changing significantly for me. And I do like that mindset of like, enjoy this now because it's not going to be like this
Yeah.
someday.
Yeah.
that's pretty crazy awareness, I'd say. I do remember when I was first starting to train, there were days when I had to have a client at like 6 a.m. and then not have a client until 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, now what do I do? And
Yeah.
it's so hard when you're in that moment to be like, okay, I made at the time $30 today, right?
Yeah.
And then I've got 11 hours between these two clients. Like I have to do something. But I remember thinking like, well, I'm probably never going to have this much time to exercise. So like
Yes.
this is probably a good time to get into running harder and
Yeah.
more, you know? Yeah.
We gotta take these moments that we have and just embrace them and like just honor every phase of life and phase of business and growth that you're in. And I feel like that can make life as a whole so much more enjoyable versus just always looking at like, okay, what is the next thing? So I'm not great at it still, but I've been really trying to work on, okay, not just looking forward at like, what does my future have and what am I working towards versus like, how am I feeling right now? How is the life I have right now, because this is pretty great too.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think, as entrepreneurs, and I know the three of us, none of us are at risk of just like becoming super lazy and just, being like, oh, I actually really like working 2 hours a day and that's just going
Yeah.
to be it. I
Yeah.
don't think there's an issue there.
No.
And just like, I think for me, it's been able to like finding the time to balance, like actually resting and not just like working 24/7, but also being like, yes, I can do more social stuff or more marketing or like being out in the community and going to group runs.
Yeah.
And like you have your Saturday group run too. Because
Yeah.
tell us a little about that and how did that start?
So I feel like for me, I feel like everyone who's in a run club like knows everyone in their run club. And I've gone to like one or two. So this isn't a knock at run clubs at all. But I might come off as an extrovert, but I'm not. I'm never going to go into a situation and be like, wow, I'm going to chat with everyone here. So going to a run club never felt safe for me. So I was like, I'm going to start my own and I'm going to do it how I want to do it, because that's also the type A in me as well. Like, I want to run it a certain way. I want it to go a certain way. I have a vision for it. So I was like, we'll just do it myself. So I do a run club. It's going to be coming out of my clinic now because I have this new clinic space in Edina. So we're going to be starting there. It's every Saturday morning and it's all female. And the goal is to not run faster than a 10-minute pace. So it's more conversational based. It's about like running slower, but really trying to build that community around it. Because another thing is I go to run clubs and they said we'd run easy and then it would be like 8:30s. I'm like, okay, I'm gassed. I can't talk to anyone next to me either, even if I'm trying to push myself out of my comfort zone. And again, not a knock
You're
at run clubs,
defeated.
but it's just those are the two experiences I had. I didn't have a lot of experiences with it. And I was just like, well, I'll just do it myself. And my schedule's weird, so I'm going to do it based on what works for my schedule too. So that was kind of the inspiration behind that. And also like a sneaky little marketing thing, because now I'm meeting all these female runners who potentially will get injured and then maybe they'll come talk to me. Maybe they won't. Regardless, I'm building a community, but it also can like kind of sneak that business side of it into it, where it is truly like this is also a marketing opportunity where I'm able to showcase what I do and talk to more people about what I do and how I do it.
Hmm. Genius.
Yeah.
No, it is because it's like, we can spend thousands of dollars on Facebook ads, Google ads, and not, downing on any of those things. But it's getting in front of the people. And that's
Yeah.
why, I mean, I love going to our run groups too, just because I enjoy it. But yeah, all of that's technically like marketing
Yeah.
strategies and
Yeah.
be able to
And
like share your story and this is what I do. And
yeah. And I guess like people will hear chiropractor and just make an assumption based off whatever their past experiences were, based off what social media is. So I've noticed it's harder for me to get people in the door as a chiropractor, but it's easier if they know what I do, how I do it, and kind of get a better view of who I am before. So booths never really work for me, and just like standard ads that just say chiropractor in your area haven't really worked for me, but being able to talk to people, show people what I do, explain it a little bit more in depth has been really beneficial.
did you always know that you wanted to be a chiropractor?
No, I didn't know I wanted to be a chiropractor until I was already graduated, because I graduated early from my undergrad. I graduated in December and I wasn't getting into any PT schools, but I wasn't really sold on PT. I was like, I just want to work with athletic people, give them a place where they can get stronger, find ways to like modify their movements so they don't have to get out of their sports. Cause that was always the most frustrating thing for me, seeing a provider as an athlete, them telling me I just need to rest. And I had enough providers who showed me that you don't always need rest and it can just be modifications and just different ways of doing it. So I was trying to find a way that I could build my own business doing that. And I, on a whim, decided to shadow at the Human Performance Center at Northwestern, where I did my grad school. And I loved the sports vibe that they had. I loved the way they were treating. And my experiences with a chiropractor was always pretty neutral. Like, it was very much so you go in, you get everything cracked in your full spine, and then you walk out the door. It was a 5-minute ordeal. And I love the intent that they put behind treating people. I love that they focused in on rehab. And I love that they did a little bit more with the muscle work as well. And I was like, well, let's just apply and see what happens. And I got in. So I applied in May and I started in September. So it was a very quick, like, okay, I guess I'm going to do this, which I don't know if I'd recommend that because I didn't put much thought into it. But it worked out great for me, which it was the least type A thing I've ever done in my life was this trajectory of just, okay, I'll apply. And I think I just wanted to get into grad school so badly that I was down for whoever would take me at that point because I was so frustrated with the PT school process. And I don't know. That sounds like very chaotic, but that's kind of
Oh,
how it
so you were
happened.
like potentially going to go the physical therapy route.
Yeah, that was kind of the plan because I didn't know another avenue that I could do the movement-based, rehab-based care that I wanted to do. And from my experience, the only people doing that in some capacity were PTs. So
Hmm.
that was kind of the route I was looking at. And I only applied to 2 or 3 schools, so I wasn't really like that bought into it. I was just like, well, if I get into these schools by my house, then I'll try it out and see what happens. I'm married to a PT, and then watching him go through school, I was like, okay, it's really good I didn't get into PT school because I wouldn't have thrived in that type of setting. And it worked out how it should have, which I'm really grateful for.
Yeah. Then, well, I'm just thinking, okay, when you were thinking about being a PT, like, did you have a vision of like, were you gonna work in a clinic, like a hospital, or like, was the vision always to find some kind of movement-based medicine that you could then have your own practice?
The goal was always my own practice, and that's where I think chiropractic made a lot more sense for me. It's a lot easier to open up your own practice as a chiropractor versus a PT. That doesn't mean it's not impossible, but it's just when you're working against the TCOs, the TRIAs, especially in the sports and athletics world, it gets a little bit harder. But I always knew I wanted to open up my own, and chiropractic kind of has this background of like, okay, a lot of people open up their own practices, and that's a very normal, common thing. So it felt like a easier route and a lot more mentorship that I could find of opening a practice, opening a business in this realm.
Mhm.
I have a very, very blunt question that I think needs to be asked because Kaylee and you have also been asked this, I'm sure, tons of times, but we get asked our opinions on Kairos. I'm not saying this like to dog on Kairos by any means because I'm personally a big fan of them, right? But it seems like we get asked above all other practitioners about our opinions on Kairos the most. Um, and it unfortunately seems like they may have one of the bigger negative like stereotypes associated with them. Do you know
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Um, and I want to address this in a setting that's recorded because like I said, we've been asked so many times like, "Oh, do you guys like what's your opinion on Kairos?" And then it seems like people are almost like shocked when we're like, "Yeah, we're big fans. Big fans of
Yeah.
Kairos." Um, and so I guess my like question and thought is how do you feel about that? How do you go about addressing that negative
I, yeah,
stereotype around Kairos? Does that make
I
sense?
feel like yes, it does. Because there is such a huge negative stereotype. And I feel like the way some chiros will portray themselves on social media definitely doesn't help the profession as a whole. Because it just looks like, oh, we're just cracking people's backs and sending them on their way. A lot of times that's not all a chiropractor is doing. Sometimes it is. And sometimes there are chiropractors who aren't doing their due diligence and aren't treating people in a safe and ethical way. However, if you look at other professions, there are always people who aren't treating in a safe and ethical way. So I feel like that's where it gets tough is there is this big view on chiropractors like, oh, it started from this guy who believed in ghosts. But if you look at medicine, we were drilling into people's brains not too long ago to try and get rid of insanity or however you want to call it. Like lobotomies were a real thing. Was that super helpful? No. So we can always build off of science and new information that we have. And I feel like there are a lot more evidence-based chiropractors out there, which I would probably lump myself in on that as well. And I feel like if you have someone who's doing their due diligence, following the evidence and treating in a way that is ethical and their intentions are to get their patients better, I I don't see how there's a negative to that, but I do know there's a lot of negative reactions around chiropractors, especially in terms of the manipulations and the cervical manipulations. I don't do like high velocity cervical manipulations in my practice. That's not to say they're not safe. It's just something I don't like to do because I don't think it's comfortable for myself. And that's kind of where we need to weigh the costs. But if you also, like I said, I'm married to a PT, they do manipulations as well. So we can't just say, oh, chiros are bad because they're doing joint manipulations, adjustments, because this other sect of providers is also doing that and they're not getting the same type of flack that chiropractors get for that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that was
By
kind of a
cervical.
roundabout way of saying it. I don't know if I actually answered your question.
I barely even know what I was asking. So
Yeah.
my point is what I'm trying to get across is that chiropractors, I have had some phenomenal mentors that have been chiropractors. And I would almost argue that some of the smartest mentors I have had so far, the higher percentage have been chiros in terms of their knowledge of the body. And from conferences I've been in and different chiros I've listened to or met with or connected with, and their knowledge, a lot of times I like to describe it almost like as wizards of the nervous system, and our brain and our spine are so important, and we just like to like forget about that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like someone has an injury and we just look at the joint or the muscle that the injury's at. We're still like, it still isn't even almost common practice to work up the chain of where a muscle, you hurt your ankle,
Yep.
and like the first thing everyone does is look at the ankle. And if they can't figure it out, then they're just like, oh, okay, we'll just keep training the ankle as opposed to going up to maybe the hip or knee or
Yes.
whatever. Right. And then so,
Mm-hmm.
I take that a step further with chiros, and it's like every single muscle innervates by nerve to back to the spine, right? Which is directly
Yep.
connected to our brain. And that gets into, a whole lot of different things. So roundabout version of me saying, like, I think chiropractors, I mean, like any profession, can be very, very knowledgeable, and I think they get a
Yes.
bad rep. And
I
I'm
think
not
we
a
do
chiro,
too.
and I get frust
Yeah.
I'm frustrated by the amount of people that have asked me, like, if
We get very defensive.
I've got
Yeah.
it's really almost bad how defensive.
I appreciate that. I'm probably the worst because I'm like, yeah, there are some really bad chiropractors out there. You're right. Like,
Mhm,
like I'm not helping my own case, but I'm like, I always follow it up with there are really great ones. Like, here's what you should
mhm,
look for when you're trying to find a chiropractor. Here's what you need to have. And also, each person is going to need a different thing. Some people really want someone to just go in and crack their back. And that's why
mhm,
those clinics are super successful. People like that. People want that. Not everybody wants that though. And so that's where I get my patients who come and see me for this different type of care. I do have a lot of patients who are like, I already have a chiropractor. You're just my movement girl. And I'm like, that's great. I'm happy to be that. I don't need to do your full spine adjustment today because you're getting that elsewhere. So it's it's such a weird profession because our scope is super large. So there are a ton of things that we are able to do and different ways we are able to treat. And there are a ton of opinions about us too, which is fun.
mm,
I just don't understand because, like you said, it is every profession has people that one we relate to and that do treat us the way that we want to be treated in whatever capacity that is. And yeah, there's good and bad in every single one, but for some reason we've picked out a few professions
Yep.
that are like, no, they're the bad ones, and you have one bad experience, and now all of a sudden everyone's just like lumped under the same
Yes.
umbrella. And
Yeah.
it's
Which
just in
gets
my mind so unfair.
it it doesn't make sense, but I mean, everyone loves a common enemy and it's really easy to just say, well, chiropractors are really bad. And
Yeah.
versus, okay, some providers are really bad in each profession. there's not everyone's going in with the right intentions for any job that they do. You could look at corporate America. There's probably people who are bad at their jobs there too. It just looks a little different than if you're looking at healthcare as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, people also throw around the evidence-based all the time about how chiros aren't or acupuncturists aren't. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
especially the dry needling world now, PTs throw in the, "Oh, we're just looking at chi and the meridians of the body as acupuncturists." And they're more of the anatomical and the musculoskeletal, and it's like, no, that's actually not true. We're looking at
Yeah.
all of that. We're looking at the
Yes.
musculoskeletal, nervous system side, and anatomy, and the meridians and the chi and blood flow and all those
There's
things.
like, we can do both at the same time. We don't need to say,
Yeah.
oh, we're only doing it this way or we're only doing it that way. And I feel like that's where it gets tough, is where people sometimes really like to put, let's just say, chiropractors in a box. Like, oh, they only adjust this way, they only do it this way, and that's why they're bad. Whereas there's this huge gray scale that we're missing. It's not just black and white all the time. Or like acupuncturists, you only look at chi and blood flow. But like there's so much more that's going on that I feel like people often will miss.
Mhm. And just the schooling in general, not that schooling is everything. I mean, we're huge believers that experience, and, like, actually getting out in the field obviously is very important, but I think there's a big miss too with I mean, PTs, chiropractors, acupuncturists, we're all going to so much school, and we're all doing
Yes.
so much, like, one-on-one, like, clinical work too, and I think sometimes that's misunderstood because I get asked a lot, like, "Oh, is this, like, a certification or, like,
Yeah.
weekend thing?"
Yeah.
And it's like, "No, this was actually a 3+ year full-time program."
Yeah.
And, like, you guys at Northwestern in the chiro program, I was like, "I'm overwhelmed," but you were taking, like, 30+ credits, I feel like, throughout
Yeah.
your entire program. It's
They
insane.
really just like push. They're like, here's everything you could possibly learn. Let's just shove it into one trimester. And it's good at the same time because I'm able to take in information in a different way. Like I'm able to listen to my patients. I feel like it's helped me. But at the same time, like a lot of times if I'm on like a nasty, like I get on Instagram and somehow I get on chiropractic hate videos and then I'll just read all the comments because I'm like, why not just dig myself deeper into this hole? And it's always coming back to, well, they don't get real education, they don't get real training. And I'm like, so what was that 4 years for me? Like,
Right.
what was I learning? Because I took biochemistry, I did cadaver anatomy labs, and I'm like, so what do they think I went to school for 4 years? What did you? I
Right.
don't know. That's where like it gets tough because it's like I really did have this strong background of education and learned a lot, and that's why I do what I do and know as much about the human body as I do. So,
Right. Yeah. That's the frustrating part. It's like,
yeah.
you come and do this school,
Yeah.
you know?
You know what? You go to Cairo school and let me know how you feel afterwards. It's fun. Like, it's exhausting, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
it
good.
is.
I'm happy I
Yeah,
did it.
I guess it's our job too as educators of the of the public to have conversations like this,
Yeah.
and I was doing a shin exercise on someone last week, and they asked if what I was doing was something I learned from physical therapy school. And I was like, wait, hold on a second. Hold on. I am not even anywhere close to a physical therapist, first of all. Second of all, I have no idea if they learned this in physical therapy, right?
Yeah.
It was just a shin exercise. Um, but my point with that is that they had no clue. Like that was just like that's not a knock on them. It's not a knock on anything, right? It's just they don't know. And like that type of stuff happens to us a lot where people just don't know. And then
No.
I get offended, right?
Yeah.
Or Haley gets offended, and then we get, or we get home, we're like, can you believe this person, said X, Y, and Z about whatever. And it's like, that's an opportunity for us. I need to ego check myself there and then,
Yes.
and remember that's an opportunity for me to educate and say, nope, there's different practitioners and we all do slightly different things and we all have a role and it's all,
Yeah.
it's all important. And that's where the team comes in. And trust and building a team is what it comes down to. And there's more
Yeah.
avenues than just one.
Well, and we
always.
also say help the people that wanna be helped,
Mhm.
and if there's people
Yep.
that are super against chiropractors or acupuncturists or trainers, there's plenty of people who do want our help. There's
Yeah.
plenty of people
And
that are in need, and it's, like, finding those people.
and it's so okay if someone doesn't wanna come see me because I'm a chiropractor. That's fine. There are enough
Mm,
other people out there who can probably help them with what's going on. I would love to be that person because I like doing what I do and I like showing people the benefits it can have, but I don't need to be that person for everyone, and I'm not going to be that person for everyone, and that's okay.
mhm.
Right. Yeah, that reminds me of, like if Kaylee's had people come in before and say some, stuff along the lines of like, I don't believe in acupuncture, just so you know, but I'm gonna let you try one time with me, you
Yeah.
know? And it's like,
Oh,
hold on. Um, how about we don't do that? How about
yeah,
you don't have to be here,
I'm like,
yeah,
I'm not here to 'cause or, get the I'm sure you get this too, like, "Does this actually work?"
yeah, yep,
Well, I probably wouldn't have gone to school. I wouldn't have transferred out of nursing and then got another 3 plus years of school if I didn't believe in it, like,
yeah.
fully, you know?
Also, why would I build a business on something that I don't think works?
Right.
That doesn't seem smart to me.
And not an easy business either.
No.
I can think of plenty of other ways where I could be making a lot more money than I do right
Yes.
now, and a lot easier.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Who do you primarily see? Like, what's your ideal, and what
I
do you see right
yeah,
now?
I primarily see my majority of my practice, I see all kinds of people, but the majority of my practice is actually perimenopausal, menopausal women who are really active, either doing group fitness or running or both. And I don't know how I fell into that, but I have recently noticed like, oh, I see a lot of perimenopausal and menopausal women. And this is kind of fun and interesting to see the way that that affects the body. With that, because I see a lot of perimenopausal and menopausal women, I see a lot of their high school, middle school athletes as well. And then their husbands start to come in too. So I see a wide mix, but probably 60% of my practice is perimenopausal and menopausal women.
Do you like, with perimenopause and stuff? Because I don't even know the full scope of chiropractors because I didn't go to school, but,
Yeah.
I mean, you can do more it's more than just fixing movement patterns too,
Yep.
right?
I mean, so something interesting about menopause is like menopause is just when your last period hits as a woman. Everything leading up to that, once you start to like see the symptoms of it, is perimenopause. And then after that, it's postmenopause, which is so like there's never I'm in menopause. You're either perimenopausal or you're postmenopausal. And there's that one moment of menopause, which also could be debated as well. But for these like perimenopausal women, in terms of like the way that I'm seeing them and treating them, is there every cell in your body has an estrogen receptor to it. And we're starting to see that steady decline of estrogen. We're starting to see that steady decline of progesterone. So we're seeing all these disruptions in sleep, in inflammation, and therefore their movement and their activities are affected. So that's kind of where I come in a way of like, okay, so you're in a lot more pain because we're having a lot more inflammation. How can we modify your workouts right now to make you feel good? How can we modify your runs right now to make you feel good? Does that mean we need to change the shoes you're wearing when you're running? Do we need more support? Do we need less support? So I kind of stay within that scope of it all. And then I do have providers that I will refer to for other things. If they need hormone replacement therapy, I have like MDs that I like to refer to for that and kind of go that route versus looking too deep at it because there is a lot of nuance with perimenopause and postmenopause as a whole. And there's a lot of things that come with it too. So I kind of focus on, okay, what is the lifestyle looking like? How can we best support you through this season of life in whatever way you want to tackle it, whether that's with hormone replacement therapy or without, because we deserve to feel comfortable and we don't deserve to be told, hey, you can't work out in the way that you want to work out just because you're getting old. if you've been doing it for how many years, or you can't get into this new workout because you're old. That doesn't feel right to me. So how can we modify and adjust things so that we can still do what we want to do, move in the way we want to? It might be a short-term adjustment while our bodies are figuring out this new balance of our hormones being decreasing steadily that we've had our whole entire lives. And that's okay. And then we slowly can build back to what we were doing before.
I like it.
Yeah.
And you also do strength like programming too, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's where more of that like programming comes in. So it's like, okay, you are a runner. Maybe you haven't been strength training at all. Maybe we add in a little bit here and there. If they need a lot more, that's when I would refer out to a personal trainer and someone who wants to get more intensive with it. I usually don't do more than like 2-day-a-week programs. And they're usually based off of an injury that I've been treating. So like, okay, here's modifications for these types of lifts that you should be doing and we want you to be doing so that we can build that strength so that you can tolerate running. Because as we get, I guess, going in more into the weeds than I already am and more into a tangent, as we get into that menopausal age group, we are at a higher risk for osteoporosis. So if we're not lifting at all, we're increasing that risk for osteoporosis, therefore increasing our risk for these stress type fracture injuries, especially in older female runners. So how can we prevent that as best as we can while still keeping them moving and running? And that's by adding in that strength aspect to it.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's one, if you had to talk to strength stuff a little bit more, do you feel like there's one big miss that, I'd say runners in general, but, or perimenopausal runners, maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. You tell
Yeah.
me, that people could be doing that could keep them running more.
I think runners are, like, in terms of strength, like where they're lacking strength, I
Yeah.
think runners are really bad at strength in general. I feel like
Yeah.
you would you would think they'd be like so great. I feel like my runners really need a lot of help with rotational core work.
Okay.
That's where I see a lot of misses is like running is such a rotational sport, but we don't always see runners training with rotation.
Mhm.
So that's something I do like to bring in a lot is smart core activation with rotation, because if our core is not stable, the rest of the body kind of follows suit. And I feel like getting a nice strong core can go so much further than it's given credit for, at least.
Core protects our central nervous system. Back to the spine. There you go.
There it is.
What about for we're seeing all kinds of things about lifting heavy for runners, but specifically for hormonal reasons, menopausal reasons. How do you feel about that? What
Uh,
is do you recommend lifting heavy?
I think it depends on what you're determining what lifting heavy is.
Mm.
I am a very big fan of lifting to or close to failure. And if we're looking to build strength and build muscle, we can do that anywhere from 4 to 30 reps. So, does that mean I need to go grab a 70-pound dumbbell when I'm going to go do deadlifts and get 4 reps in? No. I don't like working out that way personally. And I feel like a lot of runners don't like working out that way, and maybe I'm generalizing, but the runners that I know really like doing higher rep work. Like, we're endurance people. Sometimes it's more fun to do more. And so why not do 20 reps with a 15-pound weight instead as another option? But I'm still hitting that point of fatigue. I'm still hitting that point of failure so that I'm building up that strength that my body needs to get me through my runs and races. And for myself, when I'm training that way, it's easier for me to think, oh, I'm doing so many reps right now. This is going to help me when I'm running my marathon, my half marathon in a few months. Like, it's just, and maybe that's my own observation about runners and my own bias about them is, oh, we like doing things for a long time or higher reps. But it's kind of, I've noticed that translation a little bit. And it gets hard when you're in a world where you're hearing you have to lift heavy for very few reps, and that's the only way you're going to build strength. And also that's really fatiguing for someone who wants to put a lot of miles on their legs and a lot of miles on their body.
Yeah. We didn't even mention that Maggie's also a personal trainer. We should have probably, we kind of missed that.
I didn't
We'll make
bring it
sure
up. I just
we intro
I
that.
came
Yeah.
in just saying I'm a chiropractor, but I do
Maggie
have many
equals
hats.
movement extraordinaire.
I do.
When did you do your cert for personal training? Was that like during
I
school?
did that during school because I was working at Orange Theory and I was working behind the desk and I was like, you know what? Like, I really want to yell at people. This seems more fun. So
And yell at people
and
and
I
drink.
And I knew what I wanted to do with my practice. It would benefit me to have that personal training background and that knowledge background as well, because a lot of the rehab I do is strength progressions. So with that, I was like, well, I might as well add something else to my plate and get my certified personal trainer cert while I'm in school. I think I did it over like a 2-week break. Thankfully Chiro school helped me with a lot of the knowledge I needed to have in anatomy, in the body mechanics type side of things. So there was just this little sect of like exercise basics and things that I really needed to understand a little bit deeper. So that really helped me. And so I got certified and started group fitness training.
I think that's awesome. I think that there's too
Yeah.
many. I think this is changing though in the industry. I would say. I think a lot of times though we have practitioner who knows progression of exercise, right? Programming progression of exercise, and then we have practitioner who knows like injury, get person back to exercise, but we don't have the gap between the two. So the
Yep.
fact that you know both of them, I think, is very unique. So bravo to you. I think it's
Thank
sick.
you.
That's a
I
really
think
cool combo.
it's fun. It's fun to use both sides of my brain in that way. Like, and that's where it gets fun to strength program for people who are injured. And it was really easy for me to do that with my patients who also went to Orange Theory. It's like, oh, I know exactly what workouts you're going to be doing. I know exactly the structure of your workouts. Here's another exercise you can do that will directly correlate to the one you're already doing. And you're still going to hit those like fitness gains that you're looking to hit, but you won't overexert your injury or overexert what we're trying to heal right now.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think too. Kind of going back a little bit, but I think it's important with the like heavy lifting thing. I really like everything that you said with that. I thought was spot on. I think that I totally agree. I feel like I see a lot of runners who they saw on Instagram or Google or whatnot that they need to be lifting heavy. And so now they go from never ever picking up a weight, right? To going and trying to do an extremely dangerous thing
Yeah.
when in the personal training realm, the exercise movement specialist realm, you would never start someone at heavy lifting. It's always you start them high rep and teach their nervous system and body how to do a movement and you go down,
Yes.
right? And so
Yes.
now we've had people who have a lot of times, not to stereotype runners, but it's the truth. A lot of them haven't been in a gym like ever, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
why they went to running. They've liked running and they just run, right? That's pretty common. So then you have them go into a gym and try to squat an obnoxious
Yeah.
amount and then they get hurt. And then, yeah, now it's a different issue. So I think, yeah, what you said was awesome. I just wanted to say that. So,
Thank you. Yeah. I I mean it would be great if we could all go lift super heavy weights right off the bat. And I mean, if that's someone's goal, you can definitely get them there, but that doesn't mean you can't hit the same strength goals in a different way. And I feel like sometimes social media, again, because it gets those
Mhm.
clicks and gets that engagement, you have to be so black and white. Nobody, I don't know. I probably would make a video about how it's super cool to do things differently and what feels good to you. Those videos don't do great, which it's not saying I have this huge following either, but just being like, hey, listen to your body. That's not going to like take off in the way that, hey, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. And I don't know what that is, but I feel like the negative, if we're touting a negative with one solution, those always get way more traction than one little like balanced positive thing.
Mhm. Right.
Business side, back
Yeah.
to that. Where do you see your business going? And I don't think, can you give your name too? I don't think we've actually said the
Yeah.
name of your business.
Oh yeah, I didn't say it. So my business is Nordic Rehab and Chiropractic. It is a chiropractic practice in Edina, but with also that strength programming and training that I do within it. I have one provider working with me right now. So there's two of us, two chiros. I would eventually like to bring on maybe one or two more. I don't know if I ever want too large scale of a practice. I kind of want to keep it pretty small because with that, with that, I want to be able to, within the clinic space I have or whatever clinic space I have, bring in other providers and create more of an integrative space. So, like, let's say I have 2 rooms that I'm utilizing between 4 providers. There's 3 other rooms in the space. Can I get an acupuncturist in there? Can I get a massage therapist in there? Can I get a registered dietitian in there? Can I get a personal trainer? And whatever different type of practitioner I can that can complement what we're doing in our space and kind of make a one-stop shop for everyone and kind of a collaborative space for everyone.
Yeah. I feel
Well,
like,
let us know.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll keep you posted. It's still
We
new.
are asking for our own benefit here. That's
Yeah.
why I asked.
I love Edina, so
Yeah.
I I like came into this and I'm like, well, I have all these goals and plans, but I gotta wait a few years, I guess. Like I gotta settle in. And it's like that, okay, we gotta like start where we're at right now, which is so hard when you have these goals and aspirations, but it's fun to see
fine.
little things I'm doing that'll build to that.
Yeah, you have plenty of other things going on right
Yeah.
now, and just the fact of, like, buying your own business and, like, a physical, like, brick and mortar structure is a huge accomplishment, that
Yeah.
alone,
It was
and
it was a fun one.
yeah, I can't imagine how much work that was, and just, like, the learning process of it too. How long were you at the other place for in Excelsior?
So I was at the other location for a full 3 years because I started there January 2022. No,
Mm.
January 2023. I started, and I guess I was there 20, 23, 24, 25. So I purchased the new business the 25th of November. I did part-time in that location and the Excelsior location through December and then fully moved to Edina then in January. So I was still with that location for that finish of 2025. But
What
that
did
was kind of a cooler, I don't know, not to cut you off. That was a cooler structure because I was still running my own business. I was just renting that space there. So it didn't feel when I took over this practice, I didn't have to do a ton of like setting up my LLC, getting all that stuff done. I already had my like tax number with the IRS. I already had my tax number with the state of Minnesota. It was just, okay, now how do I take over this brand that's been established there and bring in my own? Because I didn't want to buy their practice and work as their practice. I wanted to buy it and make it Nordic Rehab and Chiropractic.
Mhm. What's been the hardest part about owning your own business?
I feel like it's just that we've kind of already touched on is just like always wanting to look at the next thing and not taking time to look at where you are and like what progress you've made. And also just having those big goals and aspirations and having to take the time to get there. Because sometimes that can just get frustrating and you feel like you're not making progress because progress is slow. So, like, day by day, it's like, wow, I'm really just in the same position I was 2 weeks ago. Like, yeah, of course you are. But where was I a year ago? I was probably at the point where I wanted to quit treating because I felt like when my business wasn't growing at all. And then I hit this jump between May and June, and it continued to catapult from there. And I just like was in a little bit of like a valley, which you'll see in any business. And it was so hard to get out of that mindset of just like, well, it's not going to get better from here. Then it did. And then I had the opportunity to buy this other practice, and I was in a spot where I was able to do that. So it's really easy to look at like, oh, I'm not making a ton of progress if you look at like a 2 week, 1 month span. But if you look at, okay, where was I a year ago? Where was I 2 years ago? 3 years ago when I started, I was jazzed to have one patient a week. And that was the most exciting thing to me, that I even had one person who wanted to come see me. So I feel like it's just not wanting to look forward, but also reminding myself like, hey, we are seeing so much consistent growth. Like, take that in as well, because we're making our way, and it's just wanting to make things happen quicker, but that's not always feasible.
I think perspective shift is always, we talk about this all the time about how perspective is just so important. And how when I
Hmm.
first started my business, where I'm at today is where I like dreamed of being when I first started. And now it's like,
Yes.
oh, now
Yeah.
I'm with that. And taking a second even to be like,
Yeah.
wow, Kaylee, I'm so proud of you, you know? And for you,
Yeah.
you have your own like location now too. And that's amazing. And
Yeah.
taking time to like, appreciate that.
Yeah. Like, I never would have thought I'd have my own location spot in Edina, like of all places. I'm like, how is this real life? How did this happen in the way that it did? It was very serendipitous, and it's where I did my last two internships in school. So I'm familiar with the practice, I'm familiar with the location. And so it felt very seamless. And I was expecting the transition to be a lot more uncomfortable going from my old location to this new one. And there were obviously some issues that arose, because they always do. And it's not always going to be perfect. But for the most part, it was pretty seamless and comfortable. And I'm yeah, I couldn't be happier about where I am with it now, and the trajectory I have and opportunities I have with growth versus what I had prior.
Mhm.
We should talk about running a little bit too.
Yeah. And then, or we get to do this moment.
Yeah.
What are your running goals for this year?
My running goals for this year. So last year, I am going to backtrack, because last year I ran the Twin Cities Marathon and I didn't take enough rest afterwards. And so I got injured shortly after the Twin Cities Marathon. So I spent most of my fall, early winter rehabbing a sprained ankle, which was absolutely brutal. And so now I'm kind of coming out of that. I did put my name in the lottery for Chicago and I didn't get in. So that was my sign. Hey, we don't need to do a marathon this year. So we're really leaning into halves. And I have the Twin Cities 10 mile and then another little, like, it's a little further than a 10K race coming up, but I have a really heavy spring season. And then I just kind of want to vibe through the summer and just do fun long runs just for the heck of it. And then kind of August time, really hone in on what can I do for this 10 mile, because I've ran that race. I think this will be my fourth time and I love that race. And so I'm really looking forward to maybe hitting a new PR with that.
It's the best race.
It's so good. I'm
We need
so
to do one
excited.
big joint group run at some point. I feel like this summer that'd be fun. Do giant,
That would be fun.
giant group run, and that'd be a good time.
Yeah.
Mhm. Maggie, what's your we get to do this moment? So we always ask our guests, we get to do this moment from, it can be from today, from this week, from this month. One was a time where you're like, wow, I get to do this.
I feel like in the past month, everything I get to do is kind of a we get to do this moment. I lost my mom early February. And so I've noticed, like, even just cleaning my house, I'm like, wow, what a privilege I get to vacuum my house right now, because she was really sick leading up to that. And that was something she would have been so excited to be able to get out of bed and do. Or like, wow, I get to make myself breakfast. I have an appetite this morning. Like, it's so many little things lately. And that feels so like cheesy, but very much so like I get to run, I get to go to work, I get to get out of bed every day. And that feels like such an insane privilege. And I like can't emphasize that enough, how much I've been feeling that. So I was really excited when you asked me that, because it's like truly everything right now, even like grieving or crying. I'm like, wow, at least I get to have these feelings. Like, what a privilege it was to have that relationship with my mom, that I get to miss her in the way that I am right now. So that's my, we get to do this.
Well, I have chills.
No.
That might be our best.
We get to do this moment.
No. I didn't mean
we get to do this moment. I think that
Oh man.
that just gave me all the feels.
I was like, I have to be honest. Like, what am I going to say?
great.
Run?
Oh,
but it's also so much deeper than that. Like, it is.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Thank you. Thanks for letting
And
me
for
share
being
that.
here.
I feel like it's a fun, I don't know, not fun. Grief is never fun, and this experience has not been fun in any terms, but it's been really cool to see like what I'm learning about myself, what I'm learning about like what my needs are, how I'm seeing the people around me show up for me and support me in such a beautiful way. It's been really impactful, and everything feels like a privilege and a special thing. And it's like truly, it's just so much fun to live and be able to do what we do and have a healthy body that moves and does the things that I want to be doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, literally just waking up every day is a privilege that so many people don't get to do. So,
no.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow.
I'm speechless.
That was great.
Not to dampen the mood, but
no.
That was phenomenal.
Thank you.
Everyone can, I mean, I think we lose sight a lot of times about the privilege that we have every day to do the basic things in life.
Yeah.
And, you know, we talked about a lot of things in this conversation I believe were important, but it's like high level, being able to get up in the morning, like you said, being able to do the dishes, being able to clean, being able to spend time with your kids, being able to have a job. We move past all that stuff all the time. It's like, okay, what else can we do to like make things even better?
Yes.
And like bringing it back, like these basic things are still like so important, and to be grateful for that.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely given me a new perspective, which has also helped with like in the worst way. Like, I had been looking for like, how can I find a way to appreciate the season of life that I'm in? And then I had this huge, horrible thing happen, losing my mom. But now I'm like appreciating every little moment that I have. And so that's been this little like light through it all, is while I'm really learning to have that appreciation for things, I'm really grateful for the life I get to live and the things I get to do.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you.
How can people follow you, see you, give us your socials?
I am Dr. Maggie Koethe on Instagram. I don't really update the Nordic Rehab and Chiro Instagram often, but it's there. That's the best way to follow me and see me. That's where I'm posting the most, is that Dr. Maggie Koethe page. And yeah, you can find me in Edina. My website is nordicrehabandchiro.com, and there's a lot more info about me and what I do on there. And yeah.
Is anyone welcome to come to your group runs?
Anyone is welcome to come to my group runs if they're female.
And about a 10-minute pace. We have plenty of people.
If you want to run really fast, do it on your own time. If you can run really fast, you can still come to my club. We're just not going to do it. And like, there have been cases where some people like the pace sometimes gets ahead of us. And I'm like really honing in now, coming off of a little hiatus. I'm like, we're running slow. Like, we're not going to be that group that tells people we're inclusive and then not be inclusive. So we're running 10 minutes or less.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times with run groups, like I went to one on Monday, and I was just trying to remind myself of like, this is I'm going to this for social reasons. Like I want to go
Yeah.
there and talk. And I like covered up my watch, didn't even look at it the whole time, which is very hard. And like,
Yeah.
it should be like I'm just having like coffee with people and like chatting. So thank you for
Yes.
doing that.
That's the goal. Yeah. It should
We'll
just
plug all
feel
that
like
in
a
the,
little coffee chat.
yeah, we'll plug all that in the show notes. And, um, yeah, I would love to I have this vision of doing more like 4 to 5, maybe even 6. That's probably too many person podcasts and getting like multiple movement specialists on and just freaking going round table on
Yeah.
topics. So we'll keep you up to date on that
Yeah,
because
let
that'd
me
be
know. That would be
cool.
fun.
Like getting like one of each practitioner on and talking. That'd be really fun, I feel like. So especially
Yeah.
it's cool that we're also, as we've been in the industry more, like one of the biggest things I wanted for the past like 2 years was to find specifically a chiropractor that had the running side.
Oh,
So we did it.
yay. I'm
Yay.
Yeah.
glad. I'm so glad I could be that for
AKA
you.
you. Yeah. So
No,
thank
I
you again
love
for
it.
being here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you
thanks for
so
being
much for
here,
having me.
Maggie. And if this is your first time listening, thank you for being here with us today. And as always, we get to do this.
Yeah. And if you like the episode, follow Maggie and leave us a 5-star review and rating. Pretty please. And search all of our businesses on Google and give us 5 stars there too. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Wow, Kaylee, we made it through another episode. What do you think?
We would love if you would go give us a follow, a 5-star review, and comment on the episode and what you liked and what you'd like to see more of.
See you next time.
We get to do this.